Magandang Lunes sa inyong lahat. Today is November 16, 2020. Ito po si Benji Chidoro. Today I'll be sharing with you the news on FDC and PHR and the results of trading in the PSE. All of this here only at the November 16, 2020 Monday edition of the Stock Market Today. Bago pong lahat, basahin po muna natin ang ating mga reminders at disclaimers. At habang binabasa po natin ito, kung first time niyo po dito sa ating channel, ay nag-start po akong magbigay ng daily stock market report noong August 2020. I invite you to subscribe to my channel so you will always be updated with the latest news and information on the stock market and the most active stocks in the PSE. I am a retired employee of one of the Philippines' largest banks. I was also an OFW when I was assigned to our branch in Hong Kong as head of compliance. Mga 8 months din po akong namalagi sa ibang bansa. And after that, I was assigned through the grace of God as Chief Compliance Officer of a bank subsidiary. And since early 2000, I started investing in UITFs. And after a few years, I started also investing in stocks. I review the most active stocks in the Philippine market using technical analysis, and sometimes I add a bit of fundamental analysis. By the way, if you want me to review your favorite stock, please comment on the comment box below and I will do my best to do the review. This is from the business world. Philinvest Group posts profit as bank sugar units improve. Earnings of listed conglomerate Philinvest Development Corp inched up 3% to 8.9 billion in the 3 quarters through September, supported by its robust banking and sugar businesses despite the coronavirus pandemic. In a statement over the weekend, the Gotianun family-led company said its total revenues and total income fell 9% to 57.1 billion during the 9-month period. However, the top-line decline was offset by its efforts to temper direct costs, which stood at 15.6 billion, or down 36% from the same period last year. By business segment, its banking operations through East West Banking Corp generated a net income of 5.8 billion, rising 32% from its contribution a year ago. The company attributed this growth to improved margins in its core lending and deposit-taking businesses and higher gains from trading. The real estate business, represented by Philinvest Land and Philinvest Alabang Inc., continued suffering from the lockdown to contain the coronavirus outbreak. Its net income contribution dropped 15% to 5.1 billion as sales and rental revenues both declined during the period. And the next news is on PHR shares, surge week on week from the Manila Times. Udena Group's gaming and hospitality subsidiary, PH Resorts Group Holdings Inc., or PHR, saw its shares end among the top gainers last week and noted a 31% improvement week on week. The shares of PHR jumped 20 centavos or 7.75% to finish at 278 apiece amid a 0.77% slide of the Philippine Stock Exchange Index on Friday. Diversified Securities Inc. trader Anishiato Pangan said in a text message, the shares price of PHR moved up after a number of investors within the company reported their investments within. So now, let's take a look at the most active stocks. But before that, let's take a look at how the index fared today. The index ended in the red, finished flat at 6918.05, 51.83 points below the previous close, or 0.74% lower. Let's take a look at the market summary. 119 companies advanced, 109 declined while 30 remained unchanged. Total volume is 2.36 billion, valued at 8.77 billion. There was net foreign selling at 1 billion. As for the market indices, the financials and the industrials finished in the green, while the holding companies, mining and oil, properties and services, finished in the red. The all-share index also finished down with a 0.25% decline. So let's take a look at the most active. Okay, let's now review BPI, SMPH, Ali, PureGold, Merrimart, PHR, HLCM, MWIDE, CHP, and ACEN. We will be reviewing 10 stocks. I invite you also to comment on the box below if you want your stocks reviewed, so I can include them in the review as I review the most active stocks. So let's start with BPI. BPI ended in the green, but the candlestick is a bit lower. Let's see. It opened down at 81.05. Actually, there was a gap down, and it ended higher at 83, 1.89%. But our candlestick indicator, by the way, I use the 20-day exponential moving average as my short-term indicator. This is represented by the orange line. The 50-day exponential moving average as my medium-term indicator, represented by the blue line. And the 100-day exponential moving average as my long-term indicator, represented by the black line. I also use the relative strength index, or RSI, and the directional movement index as additional confirmation indicators. Okay, it's now at 83, and let's see, there was an earnings report, but it is 33% lower. I suppose this is the third quarter. And I see the nearest support of BPI. It's looks like it's moving sideways, and actually it's moving sideways. 79.30 is the nearest support, and the nearest resistance, let's check. 88.20 is the nearest resistance. So it may just probably move sideways if there is no new catalyst on the stock. Okay, SMPH. Okay, SMPH ended with a red candlestick. And after the breakout here on November 10, it appears to be moving sideways. But our indicators is still under the candlestick. And let's see. The nearest support is, I can place it here. Let's do the weekly chart. Yeah. That's a 34.70 nearest support. While the nearest resistance, we can place it here. So it's just probably a sideways movement. So yan. So malamang sideways yan. The movement of the PSEI kasi is nagko-consolidate siya. Okay, let's now take a look at Ali. Okay, Ali continues to move upward in the past days, but right now it ended in the red, slightly down, probably due to profit taking. It may probably move higher because, let's see, we can probably draw a channel here, may slight overshoot lang. So that's how I see Ali. So it may just move within this channel, but the movement more on an upward movement, because our candlestick indicator, our indicators is still under the candlestick. So this is the 20-day moving average here. In the meantime, the nearest resistance, let's use the weekly chart of Ali. We can plot it here. That's a 43, the nearest resistance here. 43.50. So that's the nearest resistance of Ali. So ngayon, nag-profit taking lang siya. When I say resistance and support, they are not exact points, but they are areas. Okay, now let's take a look at PureGold. PureGold, malaking potential nito eh. Okay, PureGold continues to move higher, and there is volume in the trades today. Let's see. So it may retest the next resistance level here at 46. So that's the next resistance level, 46.25. And there was net foreign buying today in the stock. So the candlestick is now above the MA20, which is a good sign that the stock is starting to be bullish. And also the RSI is now above 50, indicating a bullish trend. Let's take a look at Merrimart. Ito isa pang stock na umakyat. Okay, Merrimart continues to move higher. In fact, it breached already the all-time high of, let's see, The previous high was 450. It's now at 483. It had a its highest level was 493. So there is I couldn't say where the resistance is yet because there is no historical basis. However, if we will take a look at the bid and support, we will see some clues on where the resistance is. I see a resistance here at, let's look at the ask. I see a resistance at 490 because there is a selling volume of 1.07 million. May nag-post na seller worth 1.07 million shares. And there's another one at 5 pesos because there is a volume of 5.43 million. So the next level, based on the ask, is 490, so it may retest that level. And if it breaches that level, it may retest the next resistance at 5. Okay, in the meantime, the nearest support that I see is, tignan natin yung asking nearest support, 148. No, it's not 148. Kailangan mas malaki pa dyan. 470. 470 because there is a volume at this price, the buying volume of 1.13 million. So the nearest support is at 470. So let's draw that. Ito nag-ano lang tayo, nag-guess lang tayo dito based on, well, it's an educated guess based on the bid volume. So the nearest is 470, and after 470, ang nearest niya would be 460. Okay? So far, that's how I see it. But based on the chart, kung titingnan natin yung chart, ang nearest support nandito. 449. Imamatch mo kasi yung highest level niya dito. Mga 450. Yung next support niya after 470. Since there is no historical, we have no historical basis for the support and resistance rather, then I base the resistance on the ask volume. Okay, so to summarize, the nearest resistance that I see is at 495 and 4. Tama ba? Ano ba sinabi ko? The nearest resistance is at 490, and after that, it may test the resistance level at 5 pesos. That's the resistance. Whereas on the support level, based on the chart, it's 450, but based on the bid prices, the nearest is at 470. So I think that the stock will continue to move higher and may retest the next resistance level at 490 and 5. Next, let's take a look at PHR. Okay, PH Resorts, ito yung Udena. This continues to move higher. Okay, it had a negative, actually this is a loss, no? But the stock continues to move higher. And based on the chart, I see the price testing a resistance level of, pwede niyang i-test itong resistance level na ito. 428. No, 328 rather. But if you'll take a look, we will, if you'll use some support and resistance of Investa, nandito siya sa 448 eh. So, pwede rin natin kunin itong 448 because area din naman ang resistance eh. Pero ang pinaka-test kasi is the closing price eh. So, meron siyang resistance dito. At pwede natin tignan din ang resistance dito because of the highest level here on June 23, 2020. Okay? So, this, yung 328 is the first resistance. The second will be 448 and 369. Okay? So, I see the stock, the RSI is above 50, so I see the stock moving higher. Okay, let's take a look at HLCM. Okay, HLCM, look at that. It's a breakout. So, if you were able to buy the day before, may signs of a breakout na here, oh, because meron ng accumulation of volume. So, if you'll notice, dito pa lang sa November 10, there is already volume, above average volume. And last Friday, there was a larger candlestick, a green candlestick with above average volume. At ito na nga, nag-break na siya ng resistance level. Ito yung level of resistance na binrake niya. 640. It broke the 640 level, and it is now at the next resistance level at 680. And 680, 679, 680. And if the volume will hold, then the next resistance level after 680 would be here. That's a 720. 715 to 720. So, sana hindi mag-profit taking. But, just in case mag-profit taking, magko-consolidate muna yan o magkakaroon ng pullback bago siya tumuloy sa taas. And foreign investors are bullish on the stock because there was net foreign buying today. So, it ended 10.62 points higher, or 10.05%. That is very significant increase in the Philippine market. Next, let's take a look at MWIDE. Okay, MWIDE. Wow, MWIDE continues to move higher on increased volume. Huh? Look at that. So it started November 11. Actually, it started here, November 10. There, we have already closed off a breakout here. Ito yung volume dito ng November 9, November 10. If you're able to buy here and read this, then you're in for a breakout. At nag-breakout ka. Actually, yung breakout is, ang clue dyan is the volume. Eh. So it's now at the next resistance level. It may retest this level here. 1070. Yan yung next resistance level niya. So, I think that the stock may move higher if the volume will persist. Actually, MWIDE has very good projects, although it has been struggling financially. So, kung titingnan natin yung kanyang quarterly report, nakikita niyo ba? Ayan, no, negative. Just a moment. Okay, do you see that? Ito yung quarterly report niya, ending, kailan to? Wala siyang ending eh. Pero most probably, this is September 30, 2020, yung quarterly report. So, if you take a look at the balance sheet, yung book value per share bumaba, no? From 5 last year, naging 439. Yung gross revenue niya for the quarter, ending September, yung kanyang, it's a net loss, no? 468, is this thousands ba? In thousands. 415 million. 415 million loss compared to the 3 months last year of 236. So this year, the current year to date, from January to September 2020, net loss din siya. 917 yung after tax. 917 loss compared to last year's 835 million. So I think that the market has already priced in, because expected na maraming kumpanyang nalulugi because of the pandemic, and it's just but natural for MWIDE dahil nag-slow down yung economy, and their construction also slowed down. But they have very good projects, no? Yung airport project, they have the Malolos to Clark Railway, and they have also several projects, big ticket projects. So MWIDE, if we'll now take a look at the chart, is moving higher because the market has already priced in the loss, because the market also already expected a loss. Kasi last quarter, loss na rin siya. Ayan, no? Negative, it's a net loss of 623,000. That's 623 million. So the nearest resistance is at 1070, and I would say that the nearest support would be here, nasa 834, 835 level. Yeah. So I think that let's put back our indicator. So pataas, ano? Pataas siya because it's a breakout. So it may just retest the 1070 resistance level. Next, let's take a look at CHP. Okay, CHP. CMX Holding, nag-breakout na ito. No, there's another breakout here. There's a first breakout here, but it just consolidated after. There's another, what appears to be a breakout, but no, this is not a breakout, just an engulfing candlestick. But here, it's another, yes, it is a breakout because it is the highest since October 13th, so it's more than a month. So I would say this is a breakout because there is an increased volume and an increase in the price of 6% or 0.10. Okay? So, mariretest niya, yung next level of resistance would be here. 188, yung next resistance level ni CEMEX. And if the volume will hold, pataas pa rin siya because if you'll see our indicators are well under the candlestick. That would mean a bullish indication. So let's now take a look at the DMI kung meron trend. Meron ng trend because a DMI above 30 would indicate a strong upward trend. And it is just but natural for the RSI to remain oversold. Actually, hindi pa siya oversold. It's approaching oversold level. By the way, oversold, I'm sorry, I keep interchanging the terms. Overbought, I mean. An RSI above 70 and above is overbought. And an RSI 30 and below is oversold. Now, sometimes I interchange the terms, and sometimes I say it's oversold, but I meant overbought. So this time it's overbought, but it's just approaching overbought levels. Okay, so ang tingin ko dyan, tataas na yung stock na yun. If the volume will hold, and if our indicators, because our indicators is saying so. However, ang stock market kasi, you can never tell it. We are just making an educated guess. So, when you do your trading plan, always make sure you have your cut loss or stop loss ready. Okay, next, let's take a look at ACEN. This will be our last stock. ACEN continues to move higher. Actually, may volume siya last time. And kung titignan nyo, magandang fundamentals ng ACEN. Alam niyo kung bakit? Kasi, tingnan niyo yung kanyang net income. 953 million, or that's 180% a turnaround from last year, no? Let's see yung quarterly report niya. Okay, can you see that? This is the ACEN quarterly report. And if you take a look at the quarterly report, yung kanyang current assets is slightly, actually the total assets is slightly up. 62, actually it's up, 62 against 48. The liabilities is also up, but the book value per share dropped a bit, 1.8 to 263 last year. But this is just as of September 30. Tataas pa yung book value once there is the full year. So we are approaching the full year already. Let's find out, no, in the last quarter. Ngayon, yung current month, 977 million yung kanyang net income, no? O tingnan na lang natin itong net income after tax. 953 as against 399. And itong year-to-date niya is 3 million against a loss of 216,000. No? Is this in, okay. So, tingnan natin. In thousands kasi ito eh. So, this is 953 million. And this is 339 million. Ito yung last year's third quarter. Ito yung current year-to-date January to September, that is 3.21 billion against a loss of last year's 217 million. So, ang laki ng diferensya. And if you'll see the earnings per share, 0.1 dito, 0.0, itong tingnan natin, 0.03 and against a negative 0.04. So, it's a turnaround. And if you'll take a look at ACEN's, tingnan natin yung chart. Another thing going for ACEN is that there is a new investor coming in. Yung Singapore investor will be investing approximately 20 billion. In a price of 297. Eh ngayon, yung market niya is 229 na. Diba? So, yung 351, maaaring hindi na relevant yun. Maaaring nag-move up na yung kanyang market price o yung exercise price. Kasi, tataas yung weighted average niyan eh. So, hindi na 297 yung magiging weighted average as they have indicated, no? Kung 429 yung pagbabasihan natin, no, yung market price. But based on the 30-day moving average, on the company's computation, the investor will be investing 297 per share, taking into consideration the retail investors' exercise price of 236 or 237, I think. Okay? So what do I think of the stock? I think that the stock may move higher until magkaroon ng pumasok na yung bagong investor and mag-exercise na yung stock rights, di ba? So this is an all-time high already. And in the meantime, I can place the resistance at the highest level here. 445 at the highest level dito. Yes, it's 445. That's the resistance level, but although this is just one information that we have. And the nearest support is here. That's a 470, the nearest support there. Okay, but because of the two catalysts, the new investor coming in, the upcoming stock rights, and the uptrend market or the market sentiment on companies with promoting green energy, then I think that the stock will move higher. Yan po ang ating stock market report today, Monday, the 16th of November 2020. Ito po si Benji Chidoro, reminding you, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. See you again in the next episode at maraming salamat sa inyong pagtangkilik.